multiple intelligences. Its level of difficulty can vary or stay consistent across different grades. Okay, so here are some benefits of using choice boards, and actually many of the teachers already mentioned in the survey just now. The choice boards can help motivate and engage students through differentiated learning. It empowers students with freedom and ownership of learning, and also encourages responsibility, accountability, and independence in learning. So this is just a quick review of multiple intelligence, because just now I mentioned that choice boards are very closely related with multiple intelligence. So this is a quick review of the concept of multiple intelligence. Probably most of the teachers already know that it is a concept proposed by Dr. Gardner. He proposes that there's not one intelligence that is only measured by the IQ test. There should be multiple intelligences. Even though one person can be really good at one intelligence, but usually a person possesses a range of different intelligences. For example, there is the naturalist intelligence, musical intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, existential intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, linguistic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, and spatial intelligence. So it is very important as teachers that we work really hard to try to promote the balanced development of multiple intelligences of our students, and choice board is a very good way to help us to realize this goal. So let's see, what are some of the benefits of multiple intelligence choice boards? According to research, multiple intelligence choice boards can highlight the importance of the individual students so that the students can feel their value and worth, and the students feel more successful and have greater desire to continue to be successful. So many learners actually develop into lifelong learners with this type of learning. And multiple intelligence choice boards also helps the students feel inspired, motivated, and possess self-efficacy. And it also increases communication between educators and students. It also provides a variety of learning opportunities to students and matches the activities to address content with learning personalities. So here are some very important benefits of multiple intelligence choice boards. Now, let's get into some practices of using choice boards in Chinese language classrooms. It is based on my experience of using it both at the elementary level and also at the high school level or secondary school level. I'm going to get started with the secondary school level because I feel like we have more secondary Chinese teachers here. So I'm going to get started from here. So this is my example of using choice boards at the secondary school level. So in our high school, we have been using integrated Chinese, 中文听说读写 in our school. This is our textbook. And we just finished unit 9, which is shopping. And here is how I use choice boards in my class with my students. First of all, you need to explain to the students how long you're going to use this one choice board. And for this one, I use it for 2 weeks. And you can use it, adjust it to different lengths of time based on your teaching needs. So I told the students that this choice board is for 2 weeks, and they have the choice of which activities they will do each week. In the first week, they need to choose 3 assignments and highlight in yellow. And in the second week, they need to choose another 3 assignments and highlight them in blue, like this. They need to make, it is very important that they need to make sure they choose the assignments that cover all 4 domains of language learning. So as you can see that my activities are closely associated with 1 or 2 modes of domains of language learning. So it's listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And then it also, each one of them corresponds to 1 multiple intelligence, as you can see. And one trick is that I vary the difficulty levels by rows. So the first row of activities are the easiest ones. And the middle row activities are the medium level ones, and the bottom rows are the most challenging ones for students. So I told the students that they need to choose at least one assignment from each row so that they're not just picking ones from the easy ones. So after they make their choices and works on their homework, they need to finally complete their assignment and put the date of completion and the assignment link here. So it is helping them to better organize their completion of homework. So I told them that the assignments are to be completed by Friday each week, and I will be looking at this Google Doc. It's shared on Google Classroom with them. So they know that the various assignments focus on different communication modes, learning styles, and personal preferences. Okay, so now I'm going to explain different activities in this choice board. So the first one, which is also one of the easy ones, is a listening activity. As you can see that it corresponds to the intrapersonal intelligence, because for this listening activity, they can just listen to the conversation themselves and do it completely by themselves. So I asked them to watch the video on shopping and answer the listening comprehension questions on Edpuzzle, sorry. Are you all familiar with Edpuzzle? Probably many teachers already are familiar with Edpuzzle, right? So this is a very good website that you can use a variety of different sources of videos and then to create your own homework and activities for students. So I asked the students to watch this video on shopping, and then they need to answer all those questions that I created. As you can see, I created different types of questions. There are open-ended questions and also multiple choice questions. So they need to answer those questions, and I can play a little bit for this one. Can you hear it? No? Oh, okay. That's fine. I'll try to unplug it and see. Okay. So anyway, this is Edpuzzle is a very good way to do some listening comprehension activities with the students. So the students, after finishing this one, you can see this is a second activity that is both listening and speaking. So in this activity, I asked the students to learn the song, "What Are You Wearing?" So this is about clothing, different kind of pieces of clothing that they wear. And then they need to adapt the lyrics to what they are wearing today and record themselves singing the song on Audacity. So let's see this song. You hear this one now? So as you can see, this is a song that introduces what the singer is wearing that day. So it's a very good practice of different colors and different types of clothing in Chinese. And the students need to adapt the lyrics to what they are wearing themselves. So this is a good way to practice their own description of their clothing. And then they need to record themselves singing the song on Audacity. I think we have different technological tools of recordings. Audacity is one of them. It is very easy to use and accessible for students. And also, it is actually also good for students who are shy, who do not want to show their face in video recording. So those kind of voice recording tools can be a very good choice for those students. Okay, so the next one is the writing homework. It is corresponds to verbal linguistic intelligence, because I asked the students to review Unit 9 vocabulary through Blue Kit set, I think many teachers are very familiar with BlueKit already, right? It is a very popular learning-based game website that you can create different types of games associated with your learning. Students, and they have different game modes. Actually, the students love it a lot. It is one of my students' favorite kinds of games. And I think the good thing here is that I do not only want the students to play the games that I created. So I want them to create their own game board games. So I give them this game board templates. This is a website that provides different kind of game board templates. So the students can create their own word games. So I feel like in this way, the students can create their own word games and they can play each other's word games so that it's not only from the teacher yourself, which actually makes them to have chances to play the game and to review the vocabulary through different ways. And the students actually really enjoying it. Okay. So that's the first role. And then the second role is, remember, it is of the medium level of difficulty. So this one is a speaking activities. It is more interpersonal. It is more related with the interpersonal intelligence because the students are going to work in partners. They're going to communicate with each other and create a dialogue on clothes shopping through sock puppets. Sock puppet is Sock Puppet is an app that is very popular. You can use it for recording and you can pick the sock puppets of your choice, and you can also choose the background and also the props. And then you can students can do the recording. Again, it's very good for students who are shy because you don't need to show your face there, but it is a very good way to practice their speaking. And the teachers can actually also use sock puppets to create your own listening activity for students. So this is an example from students.
我想买一条裙子。你喜欢什么颜色的？我喜欢粉色的和白色的。多大的？小号的，不要太贵的，也不要太便宜的。这条裙子怎么样？颜色很好，如果长短合适的话，我就买。您试一下。好的，这条裙子很合适，多少钱？80块。好，这是100块。找您20块。谢谢，再见。
Okay, so that is a app that can be used to help the students practice their speaking. And then the next one is a reading activity. This is more related with existential intelligence because I know that as a teacher, it is very important to promote the students to develop higher level of thinking. Many of you might be wondering that as world language teachers, especially beginning level world language teachers, how can we promote higher level thinking of students, right? Or how can we ask those more profound questions or thought-provoking questions? I feel like this is something that can be done even at beginning level language classrooms. For example, I asked a student to read this article about Double 11 shopping festival in China, so 双十一购物节 on Chairman's Bao, and then answer the questions. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with Chairman's Bao. It is a very good website that contains authentic Chinese teaching reading materials. As you can see, they have different articles associated with different levels of HSK reading levels. There's HSK 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all clearly labeled. And they are very popular topics. It's not like very old articles. So it's actually very popular topics. And you can see, since this is HSK1, this is a really short article. And when you click on this, it can read for you, so it can help students practice their listening.
最帅小吃摊主
梁曼凯是中国广东人。
Okay, I'll pause here since we have limited time. And the other good thing is that when you click on each word, for example, if the students struggle with one or two phrases, they can just feel free to click on it and it will show that it's an HSK word and what's its pronunciation, its English meaning, and it can also help you write it. When you click on stroke, it will also show you the stroke of the character. So this is a very good website for students to practice their reading comprehension. They have homework modes there and the teachers can create their classroom and assign homeworks directly from Chairman's Bell website. Anyway, after I asked the student to read about the article on the Double 11 Shopping Festival, I asked them to answer those questions on this Google form. So as you can see, there are some easy questions like when is Double 11th festival and then what do people do? And then I also try to ask some questions that really promote students higher level thinking, that is more existential level thinking. For example, I asked those what and how questions, like Double 11th shopping festival is very similar to which day or which festival in the United States. And then how is it different from Black Friday, right? And then there are also some questions like this. Do you think the more expensive things are better than cheaper things? So those questions actually can provoke some very good thinking from students. And there are some very thoughtful answers that you can get from students. Okay, and then the next one is a reading and writing activity that is more related with logical mathematical thinking, because this really this is really trying to develop the students' logical thinking through working on this Venn diagram. The students need to read this article about Chinese clothing, and then they need to complete the Venn diagram here. Here is the article. This is in English because it is a lot of more content and deep level content about culture in here. So I provided them this English article about traditional differences between traditional and modern Chinese clothing. And then I want them to finish this Venn diagram on Google Drawing. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with Google Drawing. The reason I introduce it here is that I'm sure you have all different ways of working with a Venn diagram, right? But then I want to introduce Google Drawing here is because I feel like many of us are using the Google system in our school anyway, because our school has been using Google video conferencing, Google Meet all the time, and everything in our school is synchronized with the Google system. So I just feel like Google Drawing is a very good, cool tool that you can insert a different shapes and the text box and also table and diagrams and chart. So, and you can type easily there. So I just feel like Google Drawing is just something that is easy and very compatible with your other teaching system. Okay, so the last ones. The first one is a speaking homework. I asked them, and I believe this is also associated with bodily kinetic intelligence because they need to create a role play and actually act out. That's why it is related with bodily kinetic intelligence, because they need to move their bodies to act it out. On exchanging an item with their partner and report their performances through FlipGrade. So I'm not sure if the teachers if you're all familiar with FlipGrade. It's a very good website that allows you or the students to share something, especially through videos. So you can do a quick video response on FlipGrade, and it's very easily accessible. I can explain more about this later if we have time toward the end of the presentation. And I have a question actually there for us to all respond to it. So, and we can also practice using FlipGrade a little bit more. And then the next one is the reading and writing activity. it is more related with the naturalist intelligence because it's very important that for some learners to learn in a natural environment. And it's especially important in the world language teaching because students need to learn in an authentic language learning environment. So I usually, before the pandemic or before COVID, I usually ask my students to actually go to a Chinese store. We have, I'm sure there are different Chinese stores in your area. And I ask the students to go to a Chinese store and to practice shopping with the shopping assistant in Chinese. But then right now, since we have the pandemic, we cannot actually, it is not that convenient for students to go to the Chinese store. So I asked them to do some virtual shopping on Taobao. I'm sure we're probably very familiar with Taobao already. It's a very famous Chinese shopping website. So I asked the students to find 5 items that they want to buy and list them on Google Slides. So as you can see, they need to provide a picture of each item, their prices, their colors and styles, and the reason that they want to buy them. So here is an example from my student. As you can see, the student are very interested in buying all those different plates. She said that it's very pretty. It has the white flower decorations and the price is 35. And she also wants to buy the phone case. I don't know why she wants to also buy some plants from China and have them shipped here, hopefully, and also oranges and mineral water. So anyway, it is a very good activity for students to get really immersed in that Chinese language environment. And then the last activity is a writing activity. It is more related with the visual spatial intelligence because I ask the students to open their own clothing store. So they need to create a brochure of the clothing in their store, either by hand drawing, so they can either draw the store and also the items that they're going to sell, or they can use this website to create their brochure. And this is, it's called Flip Snack. And when you open it, you can see that it's a very good website that can help you to design different kind of brochures. And this one is created by my student. As you can see, she designed different items in her store, which is pretty stylish, huh? So she listed the color, the items, and the price for each one of them. And also the sunglasses, cardigan, necklace, shirt, and the socks. Okay, so this one is more related with the visual spatial intelligence. So as you can see, all those activities are related with one of the multiple intelligences, and also are corresponding to different domains of language learning: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So before we move on to the elementary level example, do teachers have any questions that I can address before I move on? You can feel free to turn on your microphone if you have any questions.
Yeah, actually, there are teachers asking about whether you can share this choice board.
Oh, choice board. Yeah, sure. I can share this choice board for with you, and it has those links there already. So you can feel free to click on each of the links to see where the website is and also my examples there. Yeah, I'm happy to share them. And if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email later too.
There's also another question. How many days or class time for students to complete the tasks?
Oh, that's a very good question. As you can see, I assigned this choice board for 2 weeks, and I think you can adjust the time that you need for this assignment according to your own teaching planning. So I use it for 2 weeks, and I mostly require the students to do it after class. In class, we might do it sometime, but not every class. I can devote probably one class every week to doing it, but then most of the time the students will complete it after class. So I wouldn't use any class time to complete it, but you are welcome to use it in the classroom. I'm actually going to share my elementary school example, which I mostly use for students to work on in class, because our school has a no homework policy for elementary students. We are a K-12 school, but for elementary school students, we are not allowed to assign any homework. So I usually require them to do this in class. Okay, so let me okay. Okay, let me close this one. So as you can see, the one I shared about secondary school on the choice boards is more closely related with multiple intelligences. But actually, as teachers, we don't have to be that stressful. So we can design some more simple choice boards. And here is an example. So you don't have to closely align it to a different intelligence, as long as it still offers different choices for students and still caters to their different learning styles. So as you can see, there are some simple icons that you can use for your choice boards, like nuts and bolts, writing, one-way speaking, listening, reading, two-way speaking, culture, art, music, and then online activities. So here is a template of a simpler choice board that you can use in your classroom. Okay, so here is the one that I use for my elementary students. This is actually easier. So the first one is to ask the student to record themselves describing, by the way, we were learning about Chinese zodiac animals because we just celebrated Chinese New Year in February. So we were focusing on Chinese zodiac animals, so that this is part of the activities that we did. So this is a choice board. They have different choices that they can choose from. So the first one is to record themselves describing 12 zodiac animals on FlipGrade. So I talked about FlipGrade earlier. This allows them to video record themselves sharing describing the zodiac animals with their size. They can use big or small, 大小, and also different colors. And then the second one is to ask the student to review animal words with digital dialects, and this is a listening activity. As you can see, those icons really suggest what type of activities they are, and so that the students can easily choose from them. It's especially user-friendly for lower school students or elementary school students. So digital dialects is a good website too. So if you click on it, it offers activities in all those different kinds of languages, not just Chinese. So if you click on Chinese, there are also different topics here. So for because we are talking about Chinese zodiac animals, I asked them to work on animals. So they can, first of all, review those words with listening to the words of each of the animals. It has English, Pinyin, and the Chinese words there. And then they can play games with different modes here. And they can also study with flashcards. So they need to they need to match the pictures for this activity. They need to match the pictures with different pinyin down here, which is a very good practice for them. And then Next one is a reading activity. So they can easily tell it by looking at the sign here with the book reading here. And then they need to read the book and answer questions, some of the questions, because this one is about the great race, 动物渡河比赛, the great race of the zodiac animals. So they need to read this book and then answer the questions on Seesaw. Seesaw is also a very good teaching and learning tool and a learning journal tool. I'm not sure if the teachers are familiar with it. So with Seesaw, you can do design different activities, and the students, especially young students, can easily log in and then record their own answers with your instructions. The next one is a video about zodiac animals. I ask the students to watch the video about the zodiac animals and write down the names of them. So they know that this is a writing activity. And then, oh, hold on. Okay, and then this one is more cultural because there's a camera here. They know that this is a more cultural activity because I ask the students to match the animals with their personality traits, so that they know certain animals have corresponds to certain personality traits, especially with people born in that year. And then this one is a two-way conversation mode, as you can see from the sign here. So I asked the students to interview their classmates about their age and animal sign with this activity. And then this one is a video this is a website online resource. So this one is a video introduces the impact of Chinese zodiac animals on Chinese culture. So the students actually need to watch it and reflect on this video. And then the next one is actually to ask them to write and draw their choice of the 12 zodiac animals and explain on Show Me. Show Me is also an app. It's like an interactive whiteboard. It's like Edu Creative, right? So with so for this activity, I want the students to choose their own 12 zodiac animals. So they can choose to either keep the original 12 zodiac animals, or they can think of a way to add more, replace some of the animals in there. And they need to give me a rationale of why they're choosing some of the animals, why they're replacing them. So this is also actually a very good activity for students, and Show Me is a very good platform because they can draw on there through the app, and they can also record themselves explaining the reason for their choices. And the last one is that I actually found a Chinese zodiac board game. It is pretty fun. It's a little bit challenging though. You can buy it on Amazon, but I bought it on Amazon and my students loved it. It's relatively a little bit challenging for some of the students, but it's very fun and engaging. Okay, so this is my introduction of my use of choice boards at the elementary school level. I didn't go into details of some of the tools, but if you need me, I feel like some teachers might already be familiar with it, and we are also running short of time today already. It's almost already toward 1 hour. But however, if you have any questions, or if you want me to go into details with either one of those technological tools or activities, you're welcome to let me know either through the chat box, or just open your camera, turn on your camera and share it with me. So anyway, hopefully through this presentation, you already get a chance to know the importance of using technology enhanced choice boards in your world language classrooms, and also had some understanding of how to use it in both at the secondary level and also elementary level. Here is my way of contact. I do want to have an opportunity to discuss with some of the teachers here how you, especially those who has already indicated that you use you have used choice boards in your own classrooms. How you have used it? Would you like to share some of your ways of using it, your successes or challenges? We can use the last 10 minutes or so to help support each other with those discussions. Any teachers are willing to share some of your questions and your experiences of using technology, of using choice boards in your class?
Oh, we have a question in the chat box asking whether Chairman's Bow is free or you have to pay.
Oh, Chairman's Bow, it is a website that you will have to pay. So you need to do it through a subscription. But it is a very good website. I feel like it is worth the money that you pay. So you can register and subscribe it as a class, and you are the teacher, and they can you can also help the teachers, students of your class to register or subscribe together with you, and then you will have the ability as a teacher to assign classes, assign homeworks, and then track student homework. You can track, how well they did that. And you can also just create reading comprehension homeworks or activities directly from their material. And they also have some homeworks or ready-made activities themselves on there already. So it is a pretty good platform, and they have really good articles. So you can see they are not like very old sources of reading that we usually see, but you can see they are very up to date about what's happening in China right now, and some really fun articles. See about animals.
We also have questions asking about whether you can share your slides.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm happy to share my slides and also the choice board example here. The secondary one is here, and the elementary school one is here, and then it also has a template here for you to use. So feel free to use it and let me know if you have any questions.
The other question is, are you using Google Doc to make choice board?
Oh yeah, I use for choice board, especially the high school one. I've been using Google Docs, because if you use Google Slides, each slide have very limited space. As you can see, it has very limited space here, and it's not easily accessible for students. I just feel like Google Docs are more user-friendly, and students are especially high school students are very familiar with it. I'm sure they have been using Google Docs and Google Classrooms a lot with other teachers too. So I feel like that's something that can be easily adopted in the Chinese language classrooms. I'm not sure if all the teachers are familiar with Google Classroom, because if you use Google Classroom, you can create a copy for each student. So they all have their copy of the homework, and they can highlight their homework and fill in the blanks of the dates and assignment link without affecting others. So Google Classroom is also a very good tool.
I think each school district may have different learning tools or apps students use. Like my school district actually used Schoology. I know some school districts use Canvas, but they should have some similar function to this one. Oh, there's one more question. How can you give support to students who need the extra help? Which this is a differentiation question. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a differentiation question. I would say I feel like aligning your activities with different intelligences and different learning styles is already part of your differentiation effort, right? So the students can actually choose the ones that they are comfortable with and they feel like they are good at. So I noticed that with this kind of choice board homework, the students actually struggle less then you say, well, this is a homework everyone has to complete. So I feel like this choice board option is already a very good way to accommodate for different needs of students. But if the students have any additional needs or any additional questions about using or completing either one of the homework, they're always free to reach out to me during my office hours, right? They can email me or meet me after school or set up an appointment to help them. But usually those tools the students are already very familiar with. I use them a lot, like Edpuzzle or FlipGrade and Chairman's Bow and Sock Puppets Show Me. All those tools, I already use them a lot in class, so that I feel like I already prepare them really well, so that they can use them really comfortably as their homework with this type of activities. Yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, the following question is, that mean you just have one template for all students, or actually will it be different?
I have, for example, this is the one that I designed for Unit 9, shopping. This is the topic, and this is the one that I use for all my students in that one class. But I changed my templates for every unit. So for Unit 10, I will be using a different one. So it's not always, those 9 activities, always those tools. So I will dig into my toolbox and try to do different things to accommodate for students' needs and learning styles. So you can switch and rotate with different tools. So it is a one same template for students for this unit. But for a different unit, it will be a completely different template that you use, and all completely different activities that I design for students. Yeah.
Okay, and personally, I have some question. I used the choice board or author choice for students before. However, I find out sometimes students actually will pick up some easy work instead, like avoid the difficult. So how can we balance this type of the challenge for students? That's kind of like the question I want to ask.
Sure, that's a very good one. So my way of doing is that as I mentioned, I designed the different roles with different levels of difficulty. So the first role is the easiest one here, and the second role is the medium difficulty level, and the bottom row is the most difficult ones. So I told the students in the requirement that they have to pick at least one assignment from each role. So they cannot pick 3, even though they have 3, they need to pick 3 assignments themselves. They cannot pick them from the same role. So they know that, and it goes to their grades. They know that if they do it intentionally, just at one role, then they are going to miss grade for doing that. So then usually the students will choose, or they will have to choose one of a different difficulty level. Yeah. So sometimes, so maybe to answer your question, so maybe we need to make it really clear in our instruction for students, right? And also makes it clear in our grading policy, and tell them that if you are not going to follow directions here, you might miss some of the points in your homework. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
Mhm.
One more question actually is from, I think it's Haley. So how much time would you actually put into input to design each choice board per unit
Oh,
theme? Yeah.
well,
Time.
actually, if you're going to just getting started, I would love to provide you as much support as possible, and so you can feel free to reach out to me. To be honest, usually designing the first one will be very time confusing and very challenging for you. But then after you're done with the first one, you're actually are more comfortable designing it. So it will take less and less time later in the future. So I know the first ones are the most challenging time for you. So I'm here to help you, to support you. And I do want you to get more comfortable using it. And I remember Dr. Moeller, my advisor, said that teachers usually have to prepare a lot and spend most of the time preparing for a class. But after you're done planning and preparing, it will be the student's job to do the learning themselves in class, right? So it does take a lot of preparation time beforehand, but then the students can really engage in it in class and also after class. Yeah,
I agree. I think this is kind of like you have a template, template, then every time you have some new idea, you will modify it and you will keep using it, and it will kind of like when you invest more time, more effort into it, so it will be more easier for you to use this. It's kind of like some tool like that. That's kind of like my understanding for this one. But yeah, I agree. I feel this like the beginning. So maybe the first year, if you want to introduce this to your students, if you want to build like a choice board for each unit, it maybe will be very time consuming. But you can start trying, maybe like put one unit, have like one choice board.
right.
So next year you can add another one for another unit. So eventually could have covered your curriculum in this way. I think maybe we can start doing it first.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion. We can start from the easy ones, right? We can start with something simple. Try to do it. Probably you can just design one for one unit or one semester, and then try to do 2 of them in the next semester and 3 in the following semester. So try to build onto it. But once after some practices, it's actually very easy to use and design, and the students actually enjoy working with it. Yeah.
Another question from me actually.
Sure.
So when we actually teaching it, I kind of still follow like vocabulary sentence, then starts the presentation. So for this one, I see lots of your choice is it's already kind of like it's the outcome parts, interpretive or presentational. So actually, were you actually having preparing time for them to study vocabulary or sentence actually before this, or you will just give this template to them at the beginning of the chapter, and you like the students will just kind of like choose which one they will do and finish it.
That's a very good question. Thank you. So actually, I use this more as a homework because I don't take a lot of in-class time to do this kind of choice words, especially for high school students. Not the same with elementary school students. So when I'm teaching high school, I do have a lot of input and introduction of different vocabulary and grammar in class, and we have different activities in class. And this kind of choice word is more for my assessment of students' achievement or performance. So this is more like homework. They only do it after school. And I devote very small chunk of my class time to it. So it's purely based on their understanding and to assess their learning. They do have vocabulary and grammar and text learning time in class. Yeah. So I feel like it works better as a type of assessment. But if you introduce it as a learning opportunity themselves, it probably works. Yeah, we just probably need to design the activities in a different way so that they can do the learning step by step and then go to the assessment, right? Yeah, but I designed it just as an assessment here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Do we have any more questions or is it time?
We still
Gosh,
have time. We
great.
can, we still have time if we teachers have more questions or want to share what you are doing in your own classroom, please feel free to unmute yourself and join the discussion. And also in the chat, I put, please send me your email address or directly or in the group chat so that I can send you the Dr. Kang's choice board and Google slide, your slides. Is that okay for you?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, by the way, I also want to say Dr. Kangler actually is a very kind, willing to help us. So if you have a question, there's also email. You can email her if it's necessary. Yeah.
And I also shared the Google form in the chat. So if you are interested in becoming one of our guest speakers, please fill in the Google form and so that we can contact you.
Yeah, sure. And I feel like it's a really great opportunity for us to be here together to try to explore the different ways of using choice boards. I think I haven't seen any teachers coming up to share your experience of using it in your classroom yet. So please feel free to just join us. And I already know some of the teachers here very well, so we can just chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. Sorry, I thought that our session ended at 2 o'clock. So but I thought, oh, we were running out of time. So I was rushing my presentation earlier. But anyway, it seems that we have a little bit more time. So all the teachers, please join us. Oh, we still have teachers coming in.
Okay. Yeah, so actually I used it before. Then the problem I'll run into is I have one version with ping, another version is without ping. So actually it's kind of like if the students truly want to challenge themselves, they actually will choose the one without ping one. But sometimes you will occasionally you will have students who just want to have the EA job. The students actually they're capable to do just the character version, but they will actually take the one with the paying version to do that. So that's kind of like the problem I had before. Yeah, but I think what you suggest is give some a limit on it. Maybe that will be a little bit helpful for students to do that. Oh, you just mute yourself.
Oh, I did. So anyway, I feel like especially for high school students, they consider grades that they get very importantly. So if you put it into some of your grading policy, it really helps to promote them to do more challenging tasks. And I feel like just when you were mentioning it, that one of the choice words is with pinyin and the other one is purely in characters. So if you can say, maybe try saying that you can earn extra points with only the character one. So they might be more interested in doing it, right? My students work really hard for extra points. I think many teachers have experiences here. A lot of my students do care a lot about grades. I feel like a lot of students still care about their grades, especially in high school, because it plays an important role in their college applications, right? I feel like so that's something that really helps them to be more accountable for their own learning. Yeah, so maybe try bonus points with the more difficult ones. And sometimes I even say, even though I designed my homework as first week you can choose 3 assignments, and second week you can choose another 3 assignments, and the students will always ask me, what will happen if I do all the 9? I said, well, you get extra points. If you want to do all 9 of them, it's good, you're awesome, and then you get extra points. And the students are super excited about it. So I know not all students are going to complete the 9 homework, obviously, but there will be a couple of students who are willing to do that for extra points. And it's also a good opportunity for students who missed their homeworks or who didn't do well in their quizzes. So they would ask me, what can I do to make up my points? I said, well, you can work on the choice board. See what are other activities that you can do to so that you can earn more points to make up for your quizzes. So yeah, so I feel like that also adds more possibilities for your own teaching and student learning. Yeah, okay. So any other teachers? 我们有老师想说中文的吗？如果老师有觉得不好意思的，我们也可以用中文聊。我们有那么多认识的老师上来，就是大家可以聊个天儿，多交流一下嘛。好像都是
有的老师没有上得来，然后呢，我想跟大家说一下啊，这个 this actually the webinar is recorded, but not from the very beginning because there's some technical issues. But if you miss part of it, you come late and you can let me know and I can send you the recording as well.
And no worries, I'm going to share my presentation with the examples here. It has all the links to the important websites that I use and technological tools and also some of the student examples. And don't worry, I didn't share my student names there, so it should be fine, even though they are student examples.
Yeah, and actually I'm thinking about, I have one question.
Yes.
And I just hesitate to ask because I want all the other other teachers to have time to ask questions. Could you please scroll up a little bit so that we can locate your screen? I mean.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yes.
Okay.
And here. Yeah. A little bit down, a little, please.
Scrolling down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I can. I have one more question. It's actually about grading. So you have 3 different assignments. Like now, when I put the grades into my system, it's always like one, like a universal name for all students for one. So how you deal with the input of your grade? Like the students may choose different assignments. So are you going to name the same, or are you giving to the same points on that? How you grade the students? And that's kind of like the question I'm curious about.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So actually, as since each role corresponds to one difficulty level, I will make sure that each role of activity have the same amount of grades. So for example, this listening activity and this listening speaking activity and this writing activity have the same total amount of points. So they might all have 10 points, even though the 10 points can be distributed differently because this is a listening activity, right? So they have multiple choice and open-ended questions. So they can be distributed differently with all the other assignments, but all of the 3 will have the same amount of total points. And then all the middle 3 will have this total same amount of points, and then also the bottom 3. So that's why I asked them to have to choose one from each row. Then they will have even numbers of points in total in the end. Or else they will, if they choose the easy ones, they're all going to get the lowest points. Right, so they know it's not fair for them too, so they don't want to do that. They want to choose one from all different levels, and that helps with my grading too. Yeah, so the same difficulty levels have the same total amount of grades. That's a very good question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question is actually their template. You ask your students to make their own game board template.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, can you share the link?
Oh yeah, sure. See, there's a link already embedded in there. So all the technological tools have a link here. So if you click on the link, you can see those are the Microsoft Word games and game templates here. They're all printable board games. So that you can also create, the students can create them, or as teachers, you can create it with this website too. It's a very good website that you can create your own board games and then have the students play with their peers. See, those are all different kinds of board games, which is pretty fun.
Oh, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
there are more different kinds of games actually are available.
Different kinds of templates that you can do, you can create. I just ask my students to create them themselves, but the teachers can feel free to use them yourself to design your different board games, and you can print them out. See, they're all printable board games, so you can print them out if you don't want your students to have too much screen time to protect their eyes. You can print them out for students to use in the classroom. Yeah, definitely.
We have
There's another question. Yes, which is this is something about the formative, summative. So as all assignments given from the choice board are actually formative, not summative. Is that right?
I think they are mostly formative assignments. Yeah, they are not like tests or quizzes. I guess if you want to put a quiz or a test here, it's probably fine, but they're more formative assessments, right?
But I also feel like for this one, you have the reading or speaking or listening. If you can use IPA for that, actually it could be the kind of like a summative for that too. Which is sometimes I feel like we maybe need the multiple different way for students to take the tests. So if you want to do something like that, I think that's also could be an option.
Right. Thank you. So I think choice board really brings different opportunities for teachers and students. You can use it in all different ways. As we discussed this earlier with Yu Lao Shi and Liu Lao Shi, you can definitely use it, structure it more as a learning opportunity for students, even though I use it as more assessment based. And you can, and I use it more as a formative assessment, but you can actually design it in a more summative way too. So it does provide endless opportunities for teachers and students. You can use it any way you want. And I'm happy to collaborate with any of the teachers who are interested in working on this. We can collaborate together to try to explore all the different possibilities offered by choice boards. Yeah.
And also, I put my email address there. If you don't receive the recording or PowerPoint or choice board link by the end of the day, Tuesday, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I can send it to them, to you, please. So my email is crystal.liu@nebraska.gov.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we all have time to ask questions. I think we are fine. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for all the teachers for participating in this session. And thank you, Liu Lao Shi and Yu Lao Shi, for organizing this really meaningful series of activities for teachers. I feel like this kind of opportunity for us to exchange our ideas on teaching experience and practices are very valuable. So don't forget to participate in the following activities that's happening tomorrow and later, and I will be a part of that too. I will definitely sign up for some of them too. Thank you.
Thank you. And tomorrow, me and Stephanie Call, she is our previous world language specialist. I'm current language specialist at Nebraska Department of Education. We are presenting together tomorrow on the Nebraska Seal of Literacy, Your Passport to Opportunities. And we're going to share a lot of very useful information about the Seal of Literacy. And at the same time, if you are not in Nebraska, it's still useful for you because the Seal of Literacy is actually national, a national seal. Although each state has their own seal, but it is recognized in every other state. Therefore, 3 states are not participating, but now more and more are participating. That means if your students get a seal, they will be recognized in more than 45 states. So please join us and I will share the updates. And also on April 6th, I'm sorry, Jinyi 老师, she is 2018 Actful Teacher of the Year. She's going to present innovative ideas to foster 21st century mind. It's going to be at, I think it's starting from 3:45 and to 5:15 in the afternoon is Central Time. And tomorrow, the presentation about Seal of Literacy is going to be 3 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
And welcome to our guest speak series. It's going to be at least 12 webinars waiting for you now.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Actually, I want to remind one more thing actually here, which is if you are interested about become a guest speaker for us, please scan this and you can contact us. We will be very helpful and we will be very happy to host you and help you to become one of our guest speakers. Okay. Oh, chat. Thank you. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
再见。
再见. Maybe we 3 can stay and have a little bit of chat to catch up.
Sure. Okay, so if you're still here, maybe we can start move teachers into the waiting room.
How's the teacher want to come in? And I don't think, do we just remove? Oh, okay.
I just moved the teachers into the waiting room, which is later. I think they probably can like log out themselves. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. 好了。现在应该只有我们几位了，对，剩下可能他们在线上，然后也就忘了关了，估计就，所以我就把它放在那个 waiting room 里面了，就这样吧。他们等一下如果自己觉察到了，就会自己出去了，不一定要完全踢人嘛，没事的。
谢谢。
没事，应该。
谢谢，因为我也
recording 嘛，
我没注意你那个上面写的是到15分，我以为